What's up, YouTube? So we got the intercooler coming in for the Raptor, and this job's gonna suck. So I'm gonna get started. We gotta remove all this, remove the grill, take the bumper off, and I'm really considering just hiring someone to do this because this is gonna suck. But I haven't done a big mod in a while, so I think it's time to get my hands dirty. Going to pull this off and go from there. So I'll do that and then start recording on the next step. Okay, we got all the plugs out. These were a real pain to get out, but they are out. So now we can kind of just lift this up and out. Okay. Step one complete. Now I'm going to start removing these bolts here. Get ready to pull the grill off. Unplug the camera and the plug for the washing device. It sprays a little windshield washer fluid there too when you hit the windshield washers. So gotta disconnect that and I'll catch up with you guys. All right, we got the Raptor grill out. We had to unplug the camera, the windshield washer fluid line, undo all three of these little Christmas tree plugs on both sides, and undo the bolts right there, and just kind of lift up and out, and there it is. And here are the shutters, so I think we have to remove those too. So a lot of fun ahead of us, but not too bad at all. Just the plugs up top, these little plastic clips, 3 on each side. One bolt there, 8mm. Just lift up and out. Pretty simple, actually. Okay, now that that's out, we're gonna start removing these bolts right here. So in here, get this plate dropped out, and start taking the whole bumper off. So much fun. And just like that, our plate is off. Really easy. 2 bolts, 2 bolts, 2 bolts. Surprisingly, so far, this hasn't been as bad as I thought. Now, for the bumper. And I may be reinstalling a different bumper. I found one on Facebook. It's the ADD bumper. It has a center cutout for lights that a guy is selling for like $1,000. And I figured, well, I might as well upgrade the bumper while I have the original bumper off, because eventually I do want to go with a different bumper. But I kind of want the Stealth series with the light bar rack in the middle and the ability to mount a winch, but that's like 3 times the price. So I don't know, kind of undecided. Do I spend $1,000 to have an aftermarket bumper, or do I wait, reinstall this bumper, and then take it off again later? I don't know. He said he had somebody coming looking at it tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. We'll let fate determine it. All right, current status. I'm just gonna try to pull the intercooler out. We got the lines right here. These clamps, 1 and 2, screwed off and backed out. And we have these plugs here for the intercooler fan undone. And then this bypass hose, just twist and pull back. And then this pipe unhooked and backed out of the intercooler. And then I'm gonna take these 2 bolts out and drop the intercooler down. All right, and just like that, our intercooler is out. Actually, I think we gotta remove this. I'm gonna put it up here for now. So there's the old intercooler. I may need to take those boots off and reuse them, but we did have one oops in the process. This little harness that goes from the blow-off valve to the rest of the wiring harness was taped up against this, so unplugging it wasn't enough. It was taped and had this like Christmas tree plug in the back, so I couldn't see it. So as soon as it dropped out, it hung there for a sec. And as you can see, we pulled a wire out of the plug. So it's like a $20 a piece. I'll just order a new one. Can never be perfect, but we got the old intercooler out, ready for the next step. Okay, so now we are pulling the bumper out. I got my lights unplugged that I had. I'm just gonna leave them mounted up in there. They're just unplugged. And we got 2 bolts up here after I remove the cover. And we have 2 bolts on the back side along with the upper brackets for both sides. I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, stuff's already getting out of hand. Well, my light's dead, so that's awesome. Okay. So there's our bolts right there. There's our bolts right there. And there. And then here's our little bracket that runs to the bumper. And our bracket over here. So that's it. Not too terribly bad. Okay, we got those removed, and now I'm going to pull the bumper off. I can get a good angle here. And just like that, front bumper is off. There it is. Intercooler's out, grille's out, skid plate's off, fans are out. Now time to remove. Oh boy. Oh, time to remove these shutters. No more shutters. Alright guys, so we got the shutters out. Really easy process. Just a bolt right there. Right there. Right there. And boom, right there. It just lifts right off. Really surprised. I'll show you guys how it kind of just looks. Just kind of sits in there like that. Just kind of remove those 4 and pull up and it comes out. Really surprised at how easy and simple these parts are to take off. You know, majority of it is just 4 bolts, 6 bolts, quick plug disconnects, and stuff comes out. Really really content with how easy stuff is to get to and take off. Good job, Ford. All right, so we got the box of stuff. The intercooler's here. Just opened it. Now I had some, I thought I ordered some spark plugs too, but I don't see them in here, so that's great. There's a new bracket. Right. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh. What are we listening to? Oh boy, it gets worse. Alright, change the station. Some new piping, a bunch of annoying stuff. Where is it? Where is it, boys? Girls, there it is. Yes. The only thing that really matters, the sticker. Cool, got a license plates bracket holder, some more. Modification sticker. All right, so I am going to, I think I got to remove this latch next for a bracket and get it mocked up. Okay, a little progress update. We got the bracket off, which just ran from that hole there to this one. Pretty easy. 13 mil, pulled right out. And then this tube that goes to the blow off from the intake right here. It's just on the bottom of it. Just got to turn it counterclockwise and pops right off. All right, now it's time to mount the new bracket for the intercooler. We're just going to reuse the same holes that the original bracket used. So So we'll have to cut a little bit there to get the new bracket to fit through that. So we got the bracket in, used the original hardware, and we kind of mocked up the new intercooler. Now we got to cut a couple holes to fit our piping up to our new intercooler, coming from our intake and going to our manifold intake. So yeah, huge upgrade from that to this behemoth. All right, we got our holes cut out. Now it's time to remove the latch for the bracket, which is somewhere around here. Oh, well, you'll see it when I have it installed. Remove these two bolts. I traced around it so I know exactly where this goes. Okay, so we got the cable ran through after just pulling it out of the latch. Got it mounted up to the mounts here. I did spend a little bit of time trying to find new bushings. Little did I know, they came off the old intercooler. And there is 4 of them. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. And the other 2 go down here in between the bracket and the mount intercooler here. So they do not come with new ones. You will have to put those in. And if you only put these 2 in, you will quickly find out that this does not line up, and it leaves you thinking, why does this sit low? But these are probably missing if that's happening. So 4 new bushings on, the bracket on, and the latch back in place. Now we're ready for the next step. Okay, so now we got to pull this valve off. Just undo the 8mm and twist, and it comes off. And we got to put it on this new pipe supplied by Cobb. Get that going. Twist it on just like that. And these should line up, these 2 brackets right here. There's a little catch right there so it knows when to stop. So now we'll get this secured and move on. And just like that, we are tightened up with the supplied bolt and nut. Now we have to take our, where is that? There it is. Our factory PVC pipe here, PCV, whatever. We gotta cut this out and basically get these connects in the supplied hose. I'm just gonna cut this back a little bit, pull it out of this hose, and put this clamp into here for the attachment. Okay, now that we got these attachments out, put in, secured down, we are ready for the next step. And that is connecting this Y pipe from our intercooler to our intake pipe. So those 2 pipes right there will go right there, and the back side of that intercooler pipe will go right in there. So we're gonna get that mocked up, roughed in, and then tighten it down after everything's secured. All right, show you guys what it looks like installed. Ooh. Both pipes hooked up. Was kind of a job getting them both lined up at the same time and getting them to stick in place. And then our pipe from the intercooler is connected and tightened down. So we are good and tight. Ready for the next step. All right, so next step was removing the passenger side. Just hooked up right there, sat in there like this. I just unbolted the top sleeve, collar adjustment, whatever this is called. But anyways, backed it out and then twisted and I pulled off. Now we can start installing our piping hardware for Cobb for the driver's side. Okay, now that All right, so I got that one put on. Now we're going to install this and this angle right here. So next thing we'll do is hook this up and put on our band clamps or hose clamps and get ready to pipe it up to the driver's side. All right, so that's what it looks like. There's our boot adapter, runs to our supplied pipe going to our intercooler with our valve on it, blow off valve, to our next supplied rubber sleeve running to our intercooler. So you just get your band clamps on before you get this on and tighten them down when you're done. There should be 2 for this one, 2 for this one. And you should make sure they are extra tight though. You don't want any boost leaks. We'll continue on. Okay. And now we got our blow off valve pipe back on, running up to our intake pipe. Just slide it on in, turn, and it'll lock in place. And this just runs up to the intake. Intake right below here. Kind of hard to see, but it's there. All right, next we got to get these shutters removed from the front of the grill. So we're going to start taking these bolts out. There's one in the center, a couple on the sides, and get this disconnected from the grill. So now we've separated the shutters from the grill, and I removed this clip here by pulling it back and sliding it out. And there is a clip here that broke when I was trying to remove it, so that's great. But we won't be needing it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Now we're going to start removing the bracing for the blades and go on. Just start popping these out. Like that. And just move on down the line for all these. Okay, so now we've removed them all. We'll remove this bracing section and start removing our blades. Okay, so pried up on this with a screwdriver. You can see we got the motor out. We'll start removing all these shutters. I guess this will sit down and have you guys a little time to watch this. Shutters are removed, braces removed, and the motor's removed. Now we'll start prepping for our next step. All right, next we have to cut this out, this midsection here. So I'm just going to cut straight across here and then cut directly right here, and cut right here. So this basically, this T section running here to here will be completely removed. All right, now that we got our T-section cut out of the middle and the bottom, just kind of mock this up, make sure it fits. I think we are looking good. All right, so the grill is backed in, hooked up, 4 bolts on each side, and then these retaining clips up top, 4 of them, snap back in. We got our wiring harness for our front camera pushed back through its hole. We got our windshield washer fluid mounted back up. And this is for our temperature sensor. As you can see, we have a new mounting spot in the intercooler. It is still connected to that T-section I cut out right there. So you will have to remove that, the sensor, to get it out and put it back in. It disguises well, so keep an eye out for that. But so far so good. Next thing, we'll get the grill put up and get our connections plugged in. So we got these little caps to put in for our old shutter electronics, supplied by Cobb. So we are no longer needing to use our little shutter motors. That's what these little guys are. One for the grill and then one for the shutters for the old intercooler. So no more. And then we also, I don't know if I showed this earlier, we have our plug supplied by Cobb for our harness that connected to our old fans, since we're no longer using these. All right, we'll get the grill mocked up and get going. Okay, we got the front grill mocked up. We got our four bolts in up top. Windshield washer fluid plugged back in. Front camera plugged back in. This is a no longer used plug for the shutters we are no longer using in the front grill. We got our 2 bolts back in. One there for the bottom of the grill. One there. Now we're gonna put our covers around the edges back into place. Pop in these rubber guards. Put those 2 back in. Start buttoning it up. And then work on getting the front grill, or front bumper back on. You can see there's where the temperature sensor is. Nice little mounted spot for it right there. Pushed in, fits perfectly. Alright, so we got our molding back in, all of our clips back in, these little plastic clips. There, and there. And there's some back there. So we're all back in, we're secured. This side molding is back into place. So now we will get the bumper back in. And I actually did not end up getting a new bumper. The guy that was selling it didn't really want to work with me too well. And it was like a 6-hour round trip drive, and it just didn't work out, which is fine because I want a different one anyways, but it's like 4 times the price. So I thought, well, when I have it off, I might as well just put a new one on, and that one came up. I was like, well, maybe I can just deal with it and put it on, but I'm actually glad it didn't work out because I want to put a winch on the front and run a stealth bumper eventually. So I don't think I really had to remove the adaptive cruise control module since I'm keeping the factory bumper, but I didn't know and ended up not working out, so I was prepared if it did. But we're gonna get the adaptive cruise control module back in and get it plugged in and get the bumper back up and plug back in our rigid lights and hopefully get this thing fired back up. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3 bolts there. 1, 2, 3 bolts there. Front bumper is looking back to normal. Look at that big intercooler hiding in there. I know I probably should have went with the silver one. Basic physics, black, attracts heat, and you know, white does the opposite, in this case silver. So what happens with black is it sees light signal and it doesn't reflect it at all, which is basically how black absorbs heat. So like when you wear a black shirt, black sees, you know, a light signal and absorbs it, doesn't send it, reflect it back. So that's kind of the bad thing about getting a black intercooler. It may marginally be warmer than a aluminum one. And you know, rational people live by the margin, but I went with black simply because of the way it looked. That's it. If it does run a little hotter, so be it. I don't think it'll be that big of a difference. I just really like the way it's discreet in there and hidden, although it would have been more practical to have an aluminum colored one without the black finish. And I think that's true. At least I made that sound good. I don't know, just some basic physics for you, physics 101 there. But we're gonna get our adaptive cruise control module back in, put our cover plate on and skid plate back on, and get ready to start it up. All right guys, we got our adaptive cruise control module back in. We got it plugged back in. We got the wiring harness tucked behind here, all wire tied nice and neat. Got our module plugged in with the dummy from Cobb, that tied back. Everything's secured, looking good. Hey, when I take my skid plate off, I'll actually have room to grab my oil filter, so that's cool. Now, so much more room now. Wow, I really can't believe how much room is in there now. That's great. So now I'm going to put the faceplate back on, hook up my lights, and I think we're done after I put the skid plate back on. Getting closer. All right guys, our plate's back on. Front bumper's all put back together. Lights are put back up. Time for the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and start it up. Look for leaks. Okay. Well, my remote start didn't want to kick on, so I guess we'll start it from here. I got my emergency brake on too. Okay, emergency brakes off. All right. It up. I think we'll go for a test drive now. Alright, so got us out. Let's go for a little test drive. I do have a tune on it. Hopefully that a tune accommodates the shutter delete. We will monitor our intake air temp once we're at operating temperature and see if there's any changes. Check for leaks too. are out of the neighborhood. Get on a little bit. Feel a little bit difference in response. Still are a little cold. So we are at operating temperature, and now I can tell you already there's a lot more turbo noise. I can hear the turbos coming up and down, and the throttle does seem a little bit more responsive as far as the pedal. I feel like it's a little bit more sensitive and it gets up quicker. I'll get on it up here. Oh yeah. Yeah, that made a difference. Please don't be a cop. Oh shoot. That was a cop. You guys may witness me get pulled over. Oh, great, of course. But nope, we are good. So intake air temperature is operating at 59 degrees. And we don't have any check engine lights. Tells me we don't have any boost leaks either. I think usually that'll show up. So far so good. It sounds a lot better too. You definitely get some more turbo note, if you will, and she definitely has a sensitive throttle. Now I can't wait to run it on E85 and see how much of a difference it makes on E85 when we're running hot, because right now I'm just on just 87, running a very mild tune, just a sport tune, not a race tune. So I'm really looking forward to see the difference it makes running a hot tune on a warmer day. See where that bigger intercooler really shines. But she definitely has a lot more pep right away. yeah, this is fun. So super happy with the way it turned out and the process, which was not too bad at all. Sounds great, feels good. I'm just going to continue to look for leaks. I didn't show the part where I went around to look for leaks, but you know, if you're installing this yourself, then go ahead and do that. May not even be a bad idea to do like spray soapy water and look for bubbles, because you don't want leaks. But so far so good.